Rich Van Tassel back with you, finishing up our game recaps from week 4 now of the NFL season. These were the 4 o'clock games. All of them have just gone final. We're just waiting on that overtime game between the 49ers and Cardinals. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers get to 2-1 with a 25-23 victory over the New York Giants. Eli Manning for the Giants, 30 of 49, 288 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. Wayne Gallman, they might have found something with the running game there. The rookie out of Clemson, 11 carries, 42 yards, 3.8. Eli Manning, 3 of 22, 7 of 13. He had a touchdown. Shane Vereen, 5 of 14. The team altogether, however, 28 of 91, 3.3 yards per rush. So that running game has been an issue for the Giants all season. Odell Beckham Jr., 7 receptions, 90 yards. Evan Ingram, 6 of 62. Sterling Shepard, 5 of 54. Brandon Marshall, 6 of 46. Wayne Gallman fumbled once. He recovered it. The team had 1 sack. It was split between Jason Pierre-Paul and Dominique Rodgers-Cromartie. No interceptions, no kick returns, no punt returns. Alderic Rosas, 1 for 2 in his field goals. So in a 2-point game, clearly missed kicks are big, and we'll get into that more with Tampa Bay. Jameis Winston, 22 of 38, 332 yards, 3 touchdowns, most importantly, no interceptions. Jacquizz Rodgers, 16 carries, 83 yards. Charles Sims, 1 of 14. Jameis Winston, 4 of 12. The team altogether 23 of 111, 4.8 yards per rush. Cameron Brate, top receiver, 4 for 80. Adam Humphries, 6 of 70. Mike Evans, 5 of 67. O.J. Howard, 2 of 63. Cameron Brate, Mike Evans, and O.J. Howard all had touchdowns. Jameis Winston didn't fumble once. He recovered it. No sacks, no interceptions. Bernard Reedy, 2 kick returns, 37 yards. He had 2 punt returns of 16 yards. Nick Folk was 2 for 4 in his field goals. Now, Folk was barely able to sneak the last one in to win the game as time expired. They would have lost had he missed. You could tell the guy's confidence was shattered. I still remember Nick Folk, what was that, in 2009 with the Cowboys. You saw what happened when this guy's confidence was shot. He just went completely downhill. They had to get rid of him at the end of the year. They tried to stick it out with him as long as they could, but it got to a point where there's just nothing he can do. He's not making kicks. He seemed to have settled that down. I mean, that was a long time ago, but I've definitely seen it before with Nick Folk, and you might see it again here. And of course, Tampa Bay has had their struggles with kickers, but Jameis Winston didn't turn the ball over. Cameron Brate was reliable. Mike Evans, 5 of 67, so he got a pretty good game when he had Janoris Jenkins, who's a good cornerback, on him. As for the New York Giants, they dropped to 0-4. You take it for what it's worth. You're 0-4. People will say, well, no team or only one team is made up from 0-4. You can't even think about that right now if you're the Giants. You just got to play. They may have found something with the running game in Wayne Gallman. We'll see what happens moving forward. But certainly, they need to establish some running game. I thought the offensive line wasn't terrible in this game. They didn't give up any sacks. Of course, the Giants have changed their offense in a lot of ways to prevent that, but still, all in all, you may have found something there with Wayne Gallman, so you just take that and move forward. The Philadelphia Eagles 26-24 over the Los Angeles Chargers. Philly is now 3-1. The Chargers dropped to 0-4. Carson Wentz 17-31, 242 yards, 1 touchdown, no interceptions. LeGarrette Blount, very good day on the ground, 16 carries, 136 yards, 8.5 yards per rush. Wendell Smallwood 10 of 34, 3.4 yards per rush. He had a touchdown. The team altogether 42 of 214, 5.1 yards per rush. Very good. Zach Ertz, 5 of 81. Nelson Aguilar, 3 of 58. Wendell Smallwood, 4 of 45. Alshon Jeffrey, 3 of 29, and a touchdown. The top receivers, Derek Barnett recovered a fumble. Carson Wentz fumbled and recovered it. They had 2 sacks. Chris Long and Bo Allen. No interceptions, no kick returns. Kenjon Barner, 3 returns of 15 yards in the punt return game. He's, of course, a Chip Kelly holdover. Jake Elliott, 4 for 4 in his field goals. For the Chargers, Phillip Rivers, 22 of 38, 347 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interception. Again, I'm calling out you fantasy goofs. I'm sure that looks great for your fantasy team. The Chargers are now 0-4. What's the point? Rushing, Austin Eckler, 1 carry of 35 yards. It was a 35-yard touchdown. Melvin Gordon, 10 of 22. And for you fantasy goofs, I'll help you out. That 1 of 35 is a 35-yard per run average, because you guys probably wouldn't even know that. Melvin Gordon, 10 carries of 22 yards, 2.2 yards per rush. The team 13 of 58, 4.5 yards per rush. Melvin Gordon has really struggled since his rookie year. Keenan Allen, 5 receptions, 138 yards. Tyrell Williams, 5 of 115, and a touchdown. Again, I'm sure that's great for your fantasy team. The Chargers are 0-4. Austin Eckler, 2 receptions, 23 yards. Phillip Rivers lost a fumble. Travis Benjamin fumbled and recovered one. Darius Philon had a sack, no interceptions, no kick returns. Travis Benjamin, 2 punt returns of 3 yards. Young Ho Koo, 1 of 1 in his field goal. So Philadelphia got the win. As I expected, it was going to be a difficult game for them. Carson Wentz, a lot of incompletions in this game. But you travel cross country against the 0-3 team that's desperate. But hey, you find a way to get the win, and that's all that matters in this one. They were able to run the ball very well, and you needed that with the incompletions for Carson Wentz. As for the Los Angeles Chargers, it's going to be a down year for them. A lot has to do with the Chargers is what's going to happen to them in the offseason because you have an aging Phillip Rivers. There's not really much we can say about it now. As for, what they do the rest of the way, we'll just have to see. It's all about development, but you have a veteran quarterback on a team that's not ready to win now. There's not much you can really gauge with the team. That's a bad team. The Oakland Raiders dropped to 2-2, losing 16-10 to the Denver Broncos, who are now 3-1. 3-0 at home for the Broncos. Oakland 1-2 on the road. Derek Carr, 10 of 18, 143 yards, 1 touchdown, no interception. He hurt his back, came out. E.J. Manuel, 11 of 17, 106 yards, no touchdowns, 1 interception. That last interception came on the final drive, put it up for grabs, and Denver came down with it. Marshawn Lynch maybe is reconsidering whether he should have retired or not. 9 carries, 12 yards, 1.3 yards per rush. Jalen Richard, 2 of 7, 3.5. The team, 15 of 24, 1.6 yards per rush. Marquette King is 1 for -3. He attempted a fake punt. It didn't look like that was planned. Who knows, maybe he has a call where he's allowed to do it. Marquette King, I know it's kind of an oxymoron to say a punter has cachet, but if a punter has cachet in this league, it would be Marquette King, so that's probably what the case was. Of course, they look like they're missing Latavius Murray. Latavius Murray looks like he's missing the Raiders. Johnny Holton, 1 reception of 64 yards. It was a touchdown. Seth Roberts, 4 of 49. Jared Cook, 3 of 46. Cordell Patterson, 6 of 33. No fumbles. 4 sacks. Bruce Irvin had 1. Mario Edwards Jr. having a good year had the other. Khalil Mack, of course, he's sensational, had the other 2. Cordell Patterson, 2 kick returns, 70 yards, longest of 49, average of 35. Joe Feliciano had 1 for 15. Jalen Richard, 2 punt returns for 8 yards. Giorgio Tavecchio was 1 for 1 with his field goals. For the Broncos, Trevor Siemian getting it back together, but again, not great, and this just shows how bad the Cowboys' defense is. He was 16 to 26 in this game. Again, not bad, but you look at the way he torched up the Cowboys' defense. Yeah, I'm sorry, the Cowboys' defense has got me upset today. 16 to 26, 179 yards, 1 touchdown, no interceptions. C.J. Anderson, 20 carries, 95 yards, 4.8 yards per rush. Jamal Charles, 5 of 33, 6.6. Devontae Booker, 3 of 14, 4.7. 32 of 143, 4.5 yards per rush. Very consistent all the way around. Good job running the ball for the Broncos. A.J. Derby, 4 receptions, 75 yards, 1 touchdown. Benny Fowler, the third, 2 for 35. Emmanuel Sanders, 4 for 27. C.J. Anderson, 4 for 17. Isaiah McKenzie fumbled twice, did not lose any of them, recovered 1. 1, 2, 3 sacks for the Broncos. Shelby Harris, Derek Wolfe, and Von Miller, of course. Justin Simmons had that interception at the end of the game. Isaiah McKenzie, 1 kick return for 12 yards. He had 5 punt returns for 38 yards, a longest of 29, however, so you take that off. That's 4 for 9 yards after that, so you saw those numbers are buoyed by that 1 return. Brandon McManus, 3 for 4 in his field goals. Oakland will have to see what happens with Derek Carr moving forward. It doesn't look like it's a long-term injury, but it certainly looks like an injury that could keep him out at least a week, but it may not keep him out at all. We'll have to see. It doesn't look terrible, but it certainly looks like something that could be an issue. As for the Broncos, they got back to running the ball. Trevor Siemian was much better in this game than he was last week. Didn't have the turnovers. I still think he's got to play better for this team to have a chance, but they are 3-1 and on top of the Oakland Raiders, so hats off to them for getting the victory. And then the final game was an overtime game. The Cardinals beating the 49ers in overtime 18-15. The Cardinals actually did get it. There were a ton of field goals in this game. They actually did get a touchdown. in overtime to win the game. They just didn't have to kick the extra point. So it looks like they kicked 6. They only kicked 4. The 49ers kicked 5 field goals. Terrible offensive game. As you would tell by these numbers, Brian Hoyer 24 of 49, 234 yards, no touchdown, 1 interception. Not good. Carlos Hyde 16 of 68, 4.3 yards per rush. Matt Breida 9 of 16, 1.8 yards per rush. The team 27 of 95, 3.5 yards per rush. Aldrick Robinson, top wide receiver, 3 of 52. Trent Taylor, 5 of 47. Pierre Garçon, 4 of 36. Joe Staley recovered a fumble. Carlos Hyde fumbled once, and that was what was recovered by Joe Haley. Carlos Hyde also fumbled again in overtime, but he was ruled down. The other fumble that Joe Staley recovered came in overtime. Solomon Thomas, DeForest Buckner and Eli Harold had a sack each. Elvis Dumerville had 2 sacks. Elvis Dumerville, it's a shame to see he's on this team. That's been a long time. Good pro who deserves more of a chance to win. Ray Armstrong had an interception. Victor Bolden Jr. 3 kick returns for 76 yards. That's 25.3 on the average. Longest of 28, so consistent there. Hats off to him. Trent Taylor, 4 punt returns, 41 yards, 10.3. Robbie Gould, 5 of 5 in his field goals for the Arizona Cardinals. Carson Palmer, 33 of 51, 357 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. As my late Uncle Harry would say, you better get the Bengay out for him after this one. Chris Johnson, 13 carries for 32 yards, 2.5 yards per rush. Throwing 51 passes in a game, they scored 18 points. Andre Ellington, 5 of 18, 3.6 yards per rush. Elijah Penny, 1 carry for 1 yard. Carson Palmer, 2 carries for 1 yard. The team altogether 22 of 51, 2.3 yards per rush. Jaron Brown, 8 receptions, 105 yards. Andre Ellington, 9 of 86. John Brown, 3 of 47. J.J. Nelson, 3 of 34. Larry Fitzgerald, 4 receptions for 32 yards. He had the game-winning touchdown. 3 sacks. One of them was split between Frosty Rucker and Xavier Williams. Olsen Pierre and Tyrann Mathieu out of the safety spot, having the other one. Pierre, I'm not sure what position he plays. Tyrann Mathieu is the safety. Antoine Bethea had an interception. Kerwin Williams, 3 punt returns for 7 yards. There were no kick returns. Patrick Patterson, 1 of 5. Phil Dawson, 4 for 4 in his field goal. So, San Francisco look, Brian Hoyer could not bring it back to what he had. If they had this defense when they played the Rams, they would have won that game. Had they had that offense, I mean, you could have split it. You could have taken half the defense they had tonight against the Rams, they would have won that game. And half the offense they had against the Rams and had that tonight, they would have won that game. Brian Hoyer is just not consistent. There's a reason this guy has been a career journeyman. And it shows here. Look, Arizona comes out of this game at 2-2. Certainly the Rams are looking good. The Seattle Seahawks who play tonight or not. So who knows what can happen. Again, this is a last-ditch effort. I don't think Arizona will make the playoffs this year, but certainly you have a lot of veteran guys who may be looking at it as we don't have many more opportunities. So it's going to be one of those seasons for the Cardinals. You take it moving forward. As we said, Carson Palmer throwing a ton of passes tonight. They did not score many points. Their running game clearly suffering without David Johnson. They need to tread water until he comes back, and then hopefully they can make noise after that if you're the Arizona Cardinals. All right, I don't know how much of that game I will watch tonight. We will certainly have the recap for you either tonight. Most certainly would be tonight. If not, it will be tomorrow morning. Be sure to check that out, and remember, we appreciate all subscriptions. Have a good night. We'll see you next time.